Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Dragon Network. In today's video, as you can tell, we're going to be talking Pokemon again. In particular, I've got for you guys a deck profile, and it is going to be on Blastoise Keldeo EX because you guys really enjoyed the Plasma Storm box opening that I had before. Normally, when a Yugi Tuber tries to change it up with a different TCG video, they don't get so good results. But I'm glad to see you guys are far more open-minded than a lot of other people. So, we're going to go on with some more Pokemon, and I'll show you the deck I have. It's not the ideal Blastoise Keldeo deck, as there are certain cards out that I don't have that I really should be running, but I just simply can't at this time. So this is a subpar build of Blastoise Keldeo. It's still good, don't get me wrong, it's just, this could be so much better than it is. And we're going to begin with the energies, actually, because this is pretty straightforward. So, 4 copies of double colorless energy, because I'm running Mewtwo EX in the deck, and then the rest are water energies. I'm running 10 of them. This may be a low amount, but first off, you never want to run a crap ton of energy. You really only want to run at most 14. I would never go any higher than that, especially if basic energies are in your deck, because there are ways to search them out and there are ways to recycle them. Double colorless energy, well, you can't search it out, but you can easily draw into it. And now we have a card that can search out anything from the deck at the cost of discarding 2 cards. But needless to say, though, that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see with beginning Pokemon players is they just overload their deck with like 30 energies. You never want to do that, ever. That's it. Let's get to the Pokemon themselves, and we'll start off with the Heart and Soul of the deck. 3 Blastoise and 4 copies of Squirtle. There's no War Turtles. I'm going strictly with a 4 basic and 3 stage 2, with Rare Candy being the only means of getting to my Blastoise, because I can search out Rare Candy quite easily. First, we'll talk about Squirtle. And he's got a couple things going for him. Number 1, his ability Shell Shield. While he's on the bench, he can't be damaged by effects. And what I mean by this is, there are several Pokemon in this game that have attacks that deal damage to the bench. And Squirtle is immune to them. So this includes Kyurem's Glaciate, Darkrai EX's Night Spear's 30 damage after effect. He does 90 to the active and 30 to the bench. Well, he's not taking anything from that. And this allows Squirtle to safely sit on there, not being worried about being picked off by snipe attacks, like, what was another one that I used to do? Oh right, Kyogre EX. I used to like spam his 1 attack for 50 on the bench and 50 on the bench. Yeah, Squirtle is kind of safe from that shit, and that's really nice, as the only way they're going to be able to deal with your Squirtles that are benched is to straight up Pokemon capture them. And then we get to Blastoise himself, who is the exact same as his base set print, except this one's just beefier. And we'll focus on the shiny one because this looks awesome. Anyway, 140 HP basic, 140 HP stage 2, retreat of 4, weak to grass. Attack is 4 energies for 60. It does 10 more damage for every water energy attached to him, so if you put 4 water energy on him, he's going to be doing 100. And then his ability, Deluge, is Rain Dance. Basically, as many times as you want during your turn, you can attach water energies to all your Pokemon as much as you'd like. And basically, you just simply put Blastoise on the bench and you just power up all your other attackers through his ability, and that provides you with some really, really great energy acceleration. It's a tactic that I've used many times in the past with my Feraligatr Prime builds. Well, yeah, this is pretty much Feraligatr Prime 2.0, but so much better. I hope they reprint Gator again someday with a similar ability and make him even better than Blastoise. Yeah, I can dream. Anyway, what you're going to be using Blastoise with, though, is going to be Keldeo EX. This is your main guy. And he is 170 HP basic water Pokemon with only 2 retreat. And he's got 2 very good things going for him. The first one is his ability Rush In. Once, while he's on the bench during your turn, you can just put him in and retreat your active Pokemon, scot-free. And that's why this deck doesn't have to run Switch, or it can play around Pokemon Catcher and Hypnotoxic Laser. Well, if they catch your Blastoise because he's got that big retreat, you can just have Kyurem use Rush In and take its spot. And this means that as long as you have a not Kyurem, Keldeo. Anyway, as long as you have a Keldeo in play, he can just simply come into the active at any point, and there's not really much your opponent can do about it. And his other thing going for him, which is incredibly badass, is Secret Sword. For 3 energy, you do 50 damage. However, for every water energy attached to him, you do 20 more damage. So, with 3 water energies, he's going to be doing 110 damage. And with Blastoise, you can just attach and attach and attach and attach and yeah, you see where I'm going with this? Blastoise can power up this fucker to insane levels. It's just like Samurott from my older Feraligatr Prime builds. Like, I would just go Gator Samurott or Gator Golduck. Well, yeah, this is Gator Golduck 2.0. Like, I can't stop making those comparisons because that was a really, really good deck that I ran, even though it was like not like most highest a tier, but it was still an amazing, fun deck. And I like the fact that basically a deck that I used to run in the past is really good right now, and it will continue to be a very good deck until Megalo Cannon, the booster set after Plasma Freeze gets released here, because grass types get insanely good in that set. We're going to be getting, what's his name, Virizion EX, and most importantly, Genesect EX. Genesect EX is considered a grass, and yeah, he can one-hit KO Keldeo in one shot thanks to Megalo Cannon, which is 100 damage, and yuck. So, yeah, I at least can play around with this deck for a couple months, and then who knows what will happen. And then my last Pokemon is Mewtwo EX. This thing is broken. For just 2 energy, you do 20 damage times the amount of energy is attached to him and the defending Pokemon. So Mewtwo can get really big. He's used to kill any threats that would resist your water attackers, and he's used to kill opposing Mewtwo's. The Mewtwo War is one of the more few skillful things that are in Pokemon, where you try to bait out your opponent's Mewtwo, and then you can use your Mewtwo to take out their Mewtwo, and thus be up in the Mewtwo War. Most decks only run the 2 Mewtwo's, so being able to get rid of Mewtwo's early is very good. And Mewtwo is a threat against this deck too, because your Keldeo is going to have, like, to put Keldeo to the point where he will be able to knock out guys in one hit, he's going to have a fuck ton of energy on him. Mewtwo can just come in, put a double colorless energy on him, and just KO Keldeo right away and take the 2 prizes. And it's the thing about these guys, they're all EXs, so what happens when an EX gets knocked out? Your opponent takes 2 prizes. Them's the risks, but frankly, the sheer power of these things far outweigh any risks involving prizes. Like, I understand that Pokemon thought this was a balanced mechanic, but no. EXs are horribly, horribly overpowered, and until they get rotated out, Pokemon is going to be a dirt fest, much like Yu-Gi-Oh! That said, now we get to the bulk of the deck, and that would be the trainers, like any good Pokemon deck. Yeah, I know I have a small Pokemon line, but you just run the essential Pokemons that you need, the very few energies, and then the rest are just all search and draw cards, because Pokemon has a retarded amount of draw power, and yet their games still go for 20 to 30 minutes on a given. Yeesh. Anyway, we'll start off with the broken stuff. Juniper. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Awesome. Then you have 4 Ns. These are your staple 8 mandatory guys. For Juniper, for N shuffles your hand to your deck, and then you draw cards equal to the number of prize cards you have left. Both you and your opponent do this. So in the early game, you can draw 6. During the late game, if you're like down to your opponent, like say they have 1 prize card left and you've got like 5 because you opened terribly, you can end them down to 1 card, and now they're pretty much forced to top deck while you're starting to build up your resources and then come back into the game. Like, this is one of the most crazy cards they've ever printed. Then 4 copies of Bianca. With this, you draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. This build of Blastoise is running a lot of discard 2 to search out X card from your deck type cards, so it's not that hard to get yourself ready for a Bianca and then just draw into what you need. There are those times where you just simply can't use Juniper because you don't want to discard what you got. Bianca can help you get there. 3 copies of Skyla. This searches out any trainer card from your deck to your hand. This can even search out supporter cards, but since it's a supporter itself, you can only use 1 support on a turn, which means if you Skyla for a Juniper, you're going to have to wait until the next turn to play the Juniper, which means your opponent can then use N and completely fuck up your combo. Oh well. The other thing, though, is, more importantly, Skyla can be used to search out rare candy, it can be used to search out energy retrieval, it can be used to search out Pokemon Catcher. Any trainer card you need for the situation, Skyla gets it. She can even search out Computer Search, which searches out anything in the deck. Then 1 copy of Colress, because, you know what, I have a full art Colress, why the hell should I not play this? That and the fact that you can load up your bench pretty quickly with Pokemon, your opponent can load up the bench, and it's quite easy to just draw 6 to 9 cards, or even 10. Then my last supporter is a copy of Sealand. This searches out 3 basic energy cards from your deck, so with one Sealand, you can load up your Keldeo with Blastoise's effect and be ready to just start swinging and swinging and swinging. And that's it for all the supporters. Now for the actual trainers. First off, Max Rare Candies. You're running a Stage 2 deck. You kind of need these. 4 copies of Energy Retrieval. There's those times where you'll be discarding water energies to search out stuff, and you can use Energy Retrieval to get them back. And in case your Keldeo gets knocked out, you can just use Retrieval to get 2 water energies back. 2 copies of Pokemon Catcher, because I just simply can't find any more, and this is getting rotated out anyway, I'm pretty certain. So I'm really not going to make it an effort to try and get 2 more copies of Catcher when it's probably going to be gone after September. Let's see, then 2 copies of Ultra Ball, because it's again all that I've got. I need 2 more. You discard 2 cards to search any Pokemon from your deck to your hand. So Ultra Ball to get the Pokemon you need to evolve into Blastoise. Like, suppose you open with a Squirtle, an Ultra Ball, and a Rare Candy, and 2 other cards. During your next turn, you can Ultra Ball 2 of your cards to get Blastoise, Rare Candy into Blastoise, play Bianca, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. I hear that's good Pokemons. And 2 Heavy Balls. This is used to search out Blastoise. I'm thinking of actually cutting 1 and putting in a Level Ball. Most builds recommend running 4 Ultra Ball and 1 Heavy Ball, but again, I don't have 4 Ultra Balls, so I'm running these right now. But I do like the idea of just running 1 Level Ball to search out a Squirtle and bench it right there. 1 copy of Super Rod to cycle back in any Pokemon that get knocked out and basic energies. 1 copy of Tool Scrapper, because there is a monster in this game called Garbodor, and he completely shuts this deck down if he gets going. Garbodor's effect is when it's equipped with a Pokemon Tool card like Eviolite, all Pokemon's abilities are no longer active. So basically, in the Yu-Gi-Oh sense, Garbodor, if it's equipped with something, has a skill drain effect. This deck relies on its Pokemon abilities to do anything, so you need an out to Garbodor. And Tool Scrapper is searchable through Skyla, so if need be, your opponent sets up a Garbodor, Tool Scrapper that thing, get rid of those equips, and then just knock it the crap out and hope to God they don't have another one. And then my last card in the deck is Computer Search. It's an A-Spec card, it's a very good card, and it's simple. You discard 2 cards from your hand, add any card from your deck to your hand. Steep cost, but it's used to get anything that you need to get your deck rolling. Need a Rare Candy? Computer Search it. Need a Mewtwo EX because your opponent's like going apeshit on you? Computer Search it. Just, the card is just really, really, really good, and the fact that you're only limited to 1 per copy in a deck and 1 A-Spec per deck does balance out just how powerful this is. I like this idea of making really powerful cards really hard to use because you can only use it the 1 time. And that's really it for the Pokemon deck itself. This will definitely be one of my go-to decks for competitive play for the next while. This, and, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue playing Rayquaza Eels or Garchomp Altaria. Rayquaza Eels has a very good chance of like getting killed by the next ban list. Depends on how much they rotate. I'm pretty certain we're going to be losing Electric to the rotation, and I don't know how that deck is going to function without Electric. So yeah, this will probably be my main competitive deck for Pokemon for the next 2 formats until they finally rotate out some of these guys. There's a very good chance Mewtwo may be gone too. If that happens though, then I know what I'm doing. There is a card in Plasma Storm called Black Kyurem EX. It's much better than the other Black Kyurem EX that's currently in a tin. This new Black Kyurem EX has an attack that does 200 damage and you discard 3 energies from it. Since Blastoise can recycle those energies through Super Energy Retrieval, and other things, it's not that hard to maintain Black Kyurem EX's upkeep, and for 200 damage, that's actually a pretty fair price to pay. You'll be knocking out anything in 1 hit, nothing can survive 200 damage, not even Pokemon with Eviolites. Like, EXs with Eviolites, they will die to that Black Claw, Black Bullet, I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's a very good attack, and so I want that Kyurem, and hopefully I'll be able to pick one up soon. So, as it is, this is the not great version of Blastoise Keldeo. Blastoise Keldeo Kyurem is much better, but again, I'm just making do with what I got, because basically, all these cards are things that I've either pulled or bought as promos. So, the fact that I was able to get this much on my own is something that I feel quite proud of. That being said, thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.